Hello everyone. So it's been a rough few days in Ireland with the storm. And we talked about electricity, now we're talking about the water. Unfortunately, as I will here now at the moment, a lot of people in County Cavan where I am, I'm thankfully have water, but a lot of people in County Cavan and across the country too are without water and electricity too, so it's bad all over the place pretty much. So you have electricity, a lot of houses don't have electricity or water still at this time, a few days after the storm. Now in County Cavan at the moment, a lot of people don't have water, a lot of people have electricity thankfully now, but a lot of people don't have water. And I've been on about it before about the water treatment plants and the lack of upgrades for the last 20 years. And obviously, with the increase in population, the increase of houses, etc., that's puts more pressure on the infrastructure of the state, which is a toll road infrastructure. As one person for Ishkaneran, Irish Water, pretty much the council service of Irish Water, said that the whole system is pretty much rotten, and that's what he said last year. That it's just underfunded and it's total backwards really system, and it's true. And we see it now. It's pretty much toll road infrastructure, pretty much for a first world country, one of the richest countries in the world, by the way. And this is all by design. Like, let's put it this, and everybody knows this. They want to charge people for water. That's the simplest. That they want to defunded the water system and treatment plants and stuff like that in this country because they want people simply to pay for Irish water. They wanted to do that a while ago, it didn't work out well for them. But they want to do it again, they haven't ruled it out. Many times Fine Gael has said they want to bring it, they're looking about bringing it back, some way of bringing it back, the Irish water charges. And this is the reason why. So to be able to point to people now after all this outages, if people pay for the water, we could do, maybe people wouldn't lose the water and stuff like that. But in reality, it's all by design. It really, really is. Because the underfundedness of the water service, particularly in Cavan and other places too, and treatment plants not been upgraded for years, and especially with the amount of new houses being built and more people coming in, the population growing, etc., it doesn't take a genius to realise that if a crisis comes, it doesn't take a genius to understand that the system be overwhelmed and will probably collapse, and that's what's happened in Cavan at the moment. And a lot of people, God forbid, a lot of people have to, not God forbid, but God forbid, have to go to the local town, to go to the water tank in the local town. Take what's happened in Catill at the moment. They have to go up to the White Horse to get out of a truck of water because they can't use their tap. And many times it's gone dry. Take what's happened. People shouldn't have to do that in a first world country. Now, just to say, there was issues with the power, like the water treatment plants around here, and the sewage system, etc., obviously storm damage, etc. But the long story short, it should be able to be capacitable. It should be able to deal with it. But it's the fact, as I say, it's been underfunded. I know somebody, as I say, Michigan Aaron, and they said it was just crucially underfunded. It will collapse sooner or later, and it will. And we've seen it collapse because everything collapsed within rural Ireland here because of the lack of infrastructure. That's why it's toll road infrastructure, and the whole Watton system just collapsed, and that's what happened. Because it's just a Watton system. And again, we know what they want to do with Irish water. It's plain to be seen that they want people to pay for water. That's the excuse now. They're waiting to see the government TDs to be all out saying this now, that we have to charge people for water and then they wouldn't lose their water, etc. But it misses the point entirely. The government is saying about building houses, building every house everywhere. We're going to build 40,000 houses a year. Right, that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, houses need water, need sewage treatment, etc. And if the capacity's not there, and the capacity's over capacity in a lot of County Cavan and a lot of places around the country, it's over capacity. It can't deal with it. And the same with the reservoirs, they don't have enough water. It's not designed to have a extreme amount of new people in the population, if that makes sense. It's more an old system, etc. As I say, it's just a total backwards system that is old and decrepit. And as soon as any kind of thing comes along, it destroys it. And again, it's all by design, and I can't emphasize that enough. But it is really, really all by design. But it's quite insane to see this happen. Thankfully, I still have water, but a lot of places they don't have water since Friday, and probably won't have it for the next week or two. That's what's been said at the moment in some parts of Cavan, that it might be a week or two before they get the water. And it's even worse in some other places. They don't have electricity, and they don't have water, and they don't have heating. It's bad all around. And the government are on a holiday, and that's where they are. They're on a holiday. They don't give a shit. But it's a tale that never was foreseen. Obviously, it was foreseen, but they don't really care about the water because again, it's an excuse to charge people for water, and that's the plan really. Because there's no other excuse why. Looking back from last year, because this was known years and years ago, for the last 10 years, people have been sounding the alarm, etc., about water treatment plants and the capacity of the water service in this country to deal with crises, to deal with the uptake in the population, etc. and just it was all pushed aside. All your conspiracy theorists, all that, the usual. But it was true. It was plain to be seen that the water surface and the capacity of our water surface is not there. So it was that because the uptick in the population, and obviously the more houses you build, the more water would you use, etc., etc. The thing keeps going pretty much. But the fact of the matter, the water stations, etc., etc., are backwards with it. That they're not upgraded for years, the last 20 years in some cases. You kind of put two and two together, you kind of get a bad result, and that's what happened. But it's insane because, and as I say, that's the reason why. In my opinion, my humble opinion, because I talked about it last year many times, there was raising alarms about some of the water stations down the country. They were saying how terrible it was. And it was terrible at the time. That was warning signs, and we had loads of time to do something about it, but we decided not to do anything about it because it's pretty much the government want that. We know they want because they've said it before, Fine Gael particularly. But it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous for a first world country that this has happened. First of all, this shouldn't probably have all happened to be done. Like this country should have proper infrastructure, etc. Like understandably, the storm was bad. Nobody can dispute that. But it's understandably that we should have been able to cope with it as a country, at least not have the whole country really lose power, and then people freezing in their houses because they're not allowed to light a fire because the Green Party don't like it. And then other stuff, we could go on, we could write the book at this stage, and then obviously the water take us up in the first world country. It's quite insane. And then having elderly people having to go down to into the local town to get water out of the tank, instead of in the house. It's insane. But I bet you none of the politicians, have to do that because, special treatment, of course. But yeah, let me know what you think. I do feel sorry for people that have to go through it, especially elderly people that shouldn't have to. Nobody should have to go through it, but particularly elderly people that have to go out of their way to do it and stuff like that. It shouldn't have happened in the first place. As I said, the signs were there for a long time, particularly in terms of the water surface. It was there. It was Blair for the last few years. Like for the last 5 years, it was plain to be seen and was said many, many times, and nobody passed much marks. So let me know what you think, and bye.